Alright, in this video, we are going to discuss more about for and while loops of functions. So, what is that? A for loop is used to execute a block of code repeatedly for a specific number of times. It consists of three parts: initializations, conditions, and increment or decrement statement. A while loop is used to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as a given condition is true. So, for even more practical to use it, let's just starting out with the code. As usual, we are going to create SPDX license identifier MIT and then type parameter and then version 0.8.18 still, and then type contract for and while loops. Open up the curly brace, and then in this contract, first of all, type function as the local variable, and then name the function with loops. Open up the apprentice, and then type external pure. Open up the curly brace, and then instead of the function of loops, create for and while loops. First and foremost, you have to create the terms of for. Let's just type for and then open up the apprentice. Inside of the apprentice, you have to write the given of values that you want to write. In this case, I'm gonna use uint named with I equals to index. It doesn't really that matters. Uint I equals to 0. I'm going to start with 0, and then I is less than 10. It means it comes from 0 up until 9, and then I plus plus. Open up the curly brace. So I plus plus itself, it means the variable will be incremented after for and loops runs. So after the loops runs, the I variable, it will be automatically incremented. And then I'm gonna introduce you more about the function of continue and then break. So continue, it means you can skip the iteration of a loop. For example, let's just type if. By the way, if functions, we already discussed it from the previous video. If you haven't watched it, just watch that. And that inside of the parentheses of if function, type the variable named, and then is equals to whatever you want to give the value, as long it's filled up the necessarily terms upside here. I'm gonna use 3 for example, and then open up a curly brace and then type continue, and then for the break itself, wait a minute, there you go, type another if, and then I is equals to 5, because we are going to break the values of 5. And then inside of the curly brace, type break semicolon, and then after this, for the while function is run if the for function upside here didn't work, or the necessary function is outside of the for function. Let's just type that out. While, and then open up the parentheses. In this while function, it is basically the necessary conditions as long as the given value is true. There you go. Same thing like for function, we have to create the same meaning like this one upside here, but we have to type the necessary data types first. For example, another unit of j equals to 0, and then inside of the parentheses type j is less than 10, and then open up a curly brace, j plus plus. There you go. And then I'm gonna give you more about some practical function for and while loops. Let's just type function and then sum for summarized, and then inside of the parentheses filled up with another unit. I'm gonna type with underscore end, meaning number. Type external pure, and we are going to return that returns unit, and then open up the curly brace, and then we are going to, for example, given data types of s, and then we're going to return s as well. And then inside of here, create for loops unit of I equals to 1, because we are going to start it with 1, and then I is less than equals to underscore n, and then I plus plus. It means we are going to make the for function that start from 1 up until the values of n. And then inside of the for loops, create the counter of increment that we'll name it as plus equals to 1. There you go. So here is basically all of the for and while loops. If you have any questions about it, just ask me on the comment section down below, or contact me anytime, anywhere.